Good evening. Good evening. I hope everybody's having a good start to the December month. Uh, Getting ready for Christmas and all that good stuff. And now we know where we're going bowling. And by the way, Craig is running a little behind tonight. He was doing something with the family, so he's gonna be joining in as soon as he can get on, and we'll add him to the mix. But you know, gonna start out. I hope like I said, I hope y'all have had a good start to December. Um, we're off to a great start, I guess you could say. A lot of people were waiting on today. A lot of chaos yesterday and last night. You know, I hate it for our Clemson man Tony Elliott. It was a furious comeback at the end, and honestly, I felt like Duke was playing looser, more loose, and I mean, in all intents and purposes, they had no other thing to worry about. Um, Tony and those were playing for their playoff lives, seemed like, and it seemed to kind of show. Now, with that said, as most of you have probably already seen, um, great comeback by them. They took it to overtime, and I'm not really sure why you try razzle dazzle on the first play of your chance. And I had a buddy of mine that actually told me, said it was almost like watching some of Cade play over his time at Clemson, and I can't say that he's wrong. I mean, it was, the guy had done really good to that point and throws into double coverage. I mean, it just I couldn't explain it. I couldn't understand it. And that's on him. I hate it for the kid because uh, he had a chance, and at the same time, you can't take anything away from Duke. Um, that's the way the ball rolls and the way the ball falls sometimes. You know, now what did it do as far as the playoffs go? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's amazing to me because I went into the day expecting the ACC not to get a team at all, and then we see Miami, you know, come in. So you don't have either one of your teams from the championship game in it, and you choose Miami, who, just being honest, to me doesn't look like the same team that they did at the beginning of the year. Everybody thought they were going to be a strong team again, and then all of a sudden, it's almost kind of like last year that it seemed like some of the wheels fell off it. As the season went on, you had losses that nobody expected them to have, and stuff like that. If you're an ACC homer, then you're probably glad that there's a team in the playoffs. Just being honest, I am not an ACC homer myself. I am a Clemson man through and through, and if Clemson's not playing in the playoffs, I don't usually keep up with it. I will watch the national championship game, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to watch the first round, the second round, or anything like that. It's just not the way I've always done things. So, and I'm not saying anything towards people that are ACC homers. You've got some that enjoy that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I do like football overall. I enjoy watching bowl games, so that it's not like I just don't watch the playoffs. Um, Now, we did find out also today where the Tigers will be playing. First trip to the Pinstripe Bowl. That one kind of it makes me a little bit more excited, I guess you'd say. Is it going to be cold? Yeah, it's definitely going to be cold. But at the same time, I've been to the bowl in Charlotte. Well, it's been several years ago when we played. South Florida, and I'll be honest with you, it seemed cold there too to me. I'm a cold natured person, so but at the same time, that's an intriguing bowl, especially with a Penn State team that lost their coach, during the season, and two teams, honestly, that at the beginning of the season, I think we were all saying, it's amazing how disappointing these two teams have started out. Now you get almost the disappointment bowl, I guess you could call it. It'll be interesting to see, how we match up against Penn State. Um, that should be a fun matchup in my just looking at it without any kind of coaching background, as far as, in other words, just looking at name versus name and the way things have shaped out through this season. Let's see. Jeff's already on here with us. Good to see you tonight, Jeff. Let's see. All right. I was talking to a guy earlier today, and the question was posed: would Miami make it? VA wins, and the ACC has a team in. Well, I think they had a chance at both of them making it if that was the case. That's just my opinion, but everybody's all up in arms about Miami making it, Notre Dame not making it, and everybody's oh, Notre Dame does. And look, nothing about Notre Dame, or nothing towards Notre Dame. I want to say, but here's my way of looking at it. The team that really should be upset, in my opinion, that's just my opinion, BYU. Man, they were in a championship game, they lost, and they get knocked out of the playoff round or the playoffs. Alabama, I mean, honestly and truthfully, just I watched that game, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, Alabama was never in that game, in my opinion. They got lucky on the touchdown that they scored. It was a tip pass to the tight end that, I mean, come on here. I mean, if they were on the verge of being shut out for the first time ever, I think, in an SEC championship game. I mean, and let's think about this thing. I saw a rating earlier today. I think Georgia yesterday had 141 yards of rushing offense. Every other team in the SEC had 0, except for Alabama, who was at the bottom of it with -3 yards. They were dominated. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. There's some good matchups of brands for the lower tier bowls this year. I saw where Notre Dame earlier, said they were not going. They've already taken their name out the hat. Hey, the thing about Notre Dame is this, and this is my way of looking at it. You want to complain about the fact that you got kicked out of the bowl or the playoffs this year, but you also have not had play games that others have played. So, like championship games. All right, here's Craig. Good evening, Craig.
I made it.
Yeah, good to see you, brother. I've just been discussing the Notre Dame stuff and us going to the Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State. I've labeled it myself the disappointment bowl.
Yep.
It's funny because I think you and I discussed earlier this season that those two teams were probably the most disappointing teams so far this year. So
absolutely, it'll be interesting. Didn't Tom Allen come from Penn State?
Yes, he did.
That's going to be very interesting.
It will be. It will be. And it's going to be. I would liken it to Venables. Didn't we go up against Oklahoma with Venables as the defensive coordinator there? Right. Or let me say that. I know we went up against him, but soon after we, or maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking it was soon after he came over.
I want to say, yeah. Because Baker Mayfield was the quarterback.
That's right.
For Oklahoma.
That's right. Yep, that is right.
And we took it to them.
yes, we did. Hey, I'll be honest with you, I did not, and this hadn't even brought up yet. And it was reported earlier that the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Sun Bowl, I think it was, and the Pinstripe Bowl all wanted us,
Yep.
and
All three. Yep.
yep, and none of them were budging. I mean, it was we won't, and I could just see people in that conference room. No, well, look, I'll be honest with you. The Sun Bowl, I'd had no problems with. I did not want to go to the Mayo Bowl.
Yep.
I've been to the bowl in Charlotte, several years ago. I think it was the Belt Bowl then.
Yep.
But
That's right.
all I can think about with the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and I love mayonnaise. I love Duke. Let me change that. The only mayonnaise out there, in my opinion, is Duke's mayonnaise. Okay.
That's right. That's right. If you're from down south, that's it.
Exactly. All right. But I couldn't imagine having to be doused with mayonnaise if I won that bowl game.
I remember that picture of Shane Beamer. I was like
exactly. I mean, it's just no.
oh gosh.
But at the same time, could you imagine playing football in a baseball stadium, in one of the most iconic stadiums in the country? There in Fenway, I would have to say, are the two. Those would be two interesting bowls.
Yep. Very interesting.
But I will tell you, of the lower tier bowls, and I'm just telling you and I honestly would not have been watching it last year if it had not been for my cousin Wayne calling me going, "Hey, you got to turn this bowl game on." And that is the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Bowl. If you have not watched that bowl, I'm gonna tell you, take time out to watch the bowl. It doesn't matter who's playing. I'm just going to tell you. Last year in the fourth quarter, I think it was, Snoop actually went into the broadcast and was calling the game and stuff like that. That in itself was interesting.
Old Snoop.
Oh yeah. But the most interesting part of the whole thing was when the trophy presentation happened. He comes out in a lowered I'm trying to think a jacked up lowered car. All right.
Right.
Whole gold laden, okay? Gold on it everywhere. And he drives out in that to bring the trophy out to the stage. Dude, I'm telling you, that is the coolest thing. And I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm a fan of everything he's done, but you got to give Snoop Dogg his props too, because he actually has given back to his community as much as anybody has. All right.
He's a big football fan. Loves
football. He is, and loves the kids in California. And I want to say, if I understood correctly earlier, he's got his own youth football league.
Yep,
that he sponsors. Yep. Man, look here. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. I've been coaching T-ball and rec ball for going on 15 years now, and my wife's been begging me for a couple of years now to give it up because I'm getting older and it's a little bit harder to get up and down these kids. But I just couldn't imagine, what all he does with them.
Yep.
So, it's going to be interesting. It really is. I keep going back to the Notre Dame thing, and I told this before you got on, Craig, and you can put in your opinion on it. My thing is, I'm not as sympathetic with Notre Dame as I am with BYU. Okay. Yeah. BYU, yes, they got beat pretty good in their championship game, but so did Alabama. Alabama had -3 yards total in the entire game.
I saw that.
They don't get knocked down at all, while BYU loses their spot in the playoffs. I mean, it just doesn't.
Yes.
It didn't make sense.
No. So. Well, and I know it's a numbers thing and they calculate it right, but I just didn't like I'm not a Duke hater, but Duke playing in the ACC championship,
Yep.
They won it.
Yep. I mean,
You know,
yep.
but I mean, I think if Virginia would have won, they probably would have made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I feel that way too. Jeff asked earlier if I think if I understood his question correctly, I think he was asking if we thought that if Virginia had won, if both them and Miami had gotten in. I believe that now. Yes,
Yeah. Oh, they probably would have. Yeah.
you know, I'll be the first to tell you, I believe Miami, and I may be completely wrong. Okay, but I believe Miami gets throttled by Texas A&M. They're not playing to that level right now. In
Yep.
the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, yeah, not now.
Yep. You know, and you look at Miami getting in. I mean, Miami did beat Notre Dame this year.
Yeah, yep.
So
Um, you
hate
know,
it for them. I mean, they won. I think they lost the first couple of games of the season and had a 10-game win streak after
mhm,
that. But I don't think
sure
they
did.
really had a lot of good teams that they played.
They did. They did. And I think their strength of schedule was a lot worse than both of the
Yep.
other two that got in. Um, but at the same time, I mean, look at Alabama. Alabama loses to a 5-7 Florida State team that, just being honest,
Yeah.
I don't I don't think they were 5-7 good. Florida
I don't
State.
think so either. No.
I mean, we watched them play. I mean,
Yep. No, they weren't.
honestly and
But
truthfully, I believe you picked Florida State to beat us. I know you were going the opposite. I know
no,
you
I
were doing the
was. Yeah.
opposite, but at the same time, most people probably expected Florida State to beat us.
Well,
So
I personally, I'm kind of like you. I expected us to win every game this year, to be honest. I mean, there's not a
yeah,
team on our schedule that we couldn't have beaten, but that's hindsight. But I figured Florida State and Louisville, because we had them back to back, that would be a
hmm,
difficult test. And darn if we didn't beat both of them,
yep,
you know,
yep. Well, and I'm gonna
and
tell
lose
you,
to Duke and Georgia Tech.
that's what I would tell you. Watching that game last night, that's what hurt so bad was the fact that I know, especially at the end of the year, we'd have beaten both of those teams last night. I truly feel that way. I know
Oh yeah.
that it doesn't matter. We weren't there, and we didn't. In other words, we didn't put ourselves in a position to be there. Okay.
Nope.
But it just that's what made it
I mean,
that much more frustrating last night.
oh
So,
yes, it absolutely, man. But you know what? It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here over the next week with
yes, it is.
Clemson staff and players, and
Yep.
there's all kind of rumblings going on about this and that.
Hmm.
Um, it's going to be an interesting bowl season because I think from what we've been able to gather, some changes probably going to be made by the bowl game. Is
That's the
that
way it's
correct, Freddie?
sounding. That's the way it's sounding to me. Well, we already know that. Um, all right, so you've already lost an analyst, excuse me, an
Grab.
assistant quarterbacks coach.
Yep.
All right, that's going to be a head coach at Sanford, and by all indications, Mickey Khan is going with him. And I'll be honest with you, from the stuff that I'm hearing, the rumblings I'm hearing, it makes me. All right, let me step back. I'm going to be interested to see if my prediction comes true, and that prediction is that Mickey Khan goes there as the defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Okay, which would lead me to believe what I've heard over the past little while about the fact that maybe Coach Khan wasn't too happy with Dabo's selection as defensive coordinator this time and felt like he should have gotten a shot at it. I'm not saying that's
Yep.
true.
Could be.
I'm throwing it out
But,
there, and it would make a little bit more sense.
well, I'm glad. I mean, wasn't Khan one of the secondary coaches,
Sure was.
which was ended up being a weaker spot as a whole.
Yep.
So hey, I'm
Matter of
glad he did.
fact,
I'm glad he
over
did get
the
defensive coordinator.
over the last 2 years, if you think about it, he was the coach. He was the safeties coach, and what was one of our weakest spots? Safety.
Yep.
I
Right.
mean, heck, Khalil Barnes, like I said again, my opinion, Khalil Barnes seems to have regressed.
I
Um,
agree.
you know,
And he was one that I mean, a senior. He's a senior, I believe, right?
I think so.
Um, leader on the team, and
Mm-hmm.
thought he was going to be one that would be a bright spot in that secondary. But
Yeah.
instead, we had old boy that had 2 interceptions against Carolina. I think he had 6 on the season.
Yep.
Oh, what's his name?
Jones, Ricardo Jones.
Ricardo Jones. He's a
Yep.
sophomore, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
We
it's
got a lot of young guys on that team.
yeah, we do. And there again, by all indications, um, you know, our offensive coordinator is not coming back. Now, you know, I don't know who Dabo is going to get to replace that person, or replace Riley, if and when it does happen. From all indications that, or everything I've heard to this point, it's going to be similar to Tom Allen kind of hire.
Yeah.
At one time, I was hearing that.
Experience.
At one time, I was hearing that it could be somebody from on staff, but I haven't heard those rumblings as much over the last week. And so, hey, I will be happy with whoever it is as long as we don't see the bubble screen on 3rd down and 7 and 1st down and 10 and 2nd down and 20 after the 1st down and 10 doesn't work. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just not.
Hey, look, yeah. And, and some of those play calls are just mind boggling.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
3rd and 15 and you're going to run it up the middle. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, I get that you have to loosen up the defense, but look here. I think running up the middle 10, 12 times a game just doesn't, man, we had more success on the edge than we did up the middle.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm about to say. You said about having more success on the edge, and the thing that would trip me out is you bring the bigs in, and we've already talked about this before. Bring the bigs in, and everybody's like, "Yep, if you can get them at the line, you're good because they're not going to bounce it out. They're not going to. I mean, So
yeah, it seems like we were just too
predictable.
Predictable. Yep, that's exactly right. But hey. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a Chad Morris.
Yeah, I don't believe Chad Morris will. Honestly, I don't believe Chad Morris would want to come back. And I don't know that Dabo would have him back. That wasn't. Yeah. I don't believe. I mean, I don't want to say it was a horrible divorce, but at the same time, it wasn't as clean as some people thought it was.
Yeah.
From what I've gathered.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long after he was there at SMU that we found out he had tried to get Deshaun Watson to go with them and stuff like that.
I remember that. Yep.
And I do believe also that, kind of like Jeff Scott, I don't want to say that Dabo told him not to, but at the same time, I believe that they were bit bound and determined they were taking that no matter what, both he and Jeff Scott.
Yep.
And we see how those two things kind of worked out. Hey,
it'll be interesting.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Now, one thing we haven't touched on is signing day. Man, look here. I've been looking at some of these guys and we got some really good, interesting guys.
Big time.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's some, and I know it's been all over the internet, but got some horses at offensive line.
Yeah. The two places that I've been hearing rumbling or big time news out of is that two coaches just knocked it out of the park, and that was Matt Luke and Tyler Grisham. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm hoping, we've never seen any of these guys play, so you got to keep that in mind. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Connor Salmon can do. And where was the other? And
Naeem Burrows.
Yes. I am looking forward to see it because Somebody pointed out that how fast Naeem Burrows is, and one of my buddies pointed out, if you think he's fast, wait till you see Salmon. I mean, Salmon just
Yep.
is lights and lightning faster than he is. So
Yep. And that Gordon Sellers was another one. Those three
that
guys
was going to be my
there.
third one. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
But I tell you, I'm excited about some of the size we got on the line. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah. Yeah.
at Leo Delaney, 6'6", 290.
I'm telling you, Bo.
And where's the dude at? Offensive tackle, Adam Guthrie, 6'7", 285. And you know they're going to get some good, solid weight on these dudes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But Braden Wimes, 6'8", 280. I like the size on these tackles,
Yeah,
And
I do. I know.
and I'm kind of excited about both quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Tate
I've heard a bunch about Tate Reynolds, man. He
and
could be really good.
and Brock Bradley too.
Yep.
They say don't sleep on him.
That's right. That's what somebody else said, that it should be a good room going forward.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see, what the portal season holds and stuff like that. Because I have not heard anybody say that Tate Reynolds or was it Burrows?
Burrows, yep.
Bradley. I'm sorry.
Bradley, another quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, neither one of them have shown signs that they could be a Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, come in and take over a game 2 type quarterback. That they may need some time to get some size and, get accustomed to. Kind of like we were talking about before about Denson. Now, I'm wondering about Denson at this point, but,
he loves Clemson, but
yeah.
But you know what? These players these days are going to look out for themselves too.
And you got an assistant quarterback going to become a head coach at another school. So
yep.
And
no telling.
That's right. Well, and kind of like we talked about a little while ago, and you said just now, these players now, it's not like when Deshaun Watson was there and, you had a loyalty thing. And I don't want to say that. I'm not saying that bad towards Denson or any of these players that are leaving and hitting the portal. I'm just being straight up honest, loyalty the Clemson culture doesn't have, in my opinion, the same weight that it did before the portal and the NIL. Okay.
It doesn't. It still counts for a lot, but it doesn't count for what it did before, like you said, right. Because of the portal.
Yeah. There you go. And so, it's going to be interesting to see there. I do believe still that this year you're going to see Dabo hit the portal harder than he did last year. And even though we know that he's been using the portal the best he could, I think you see a more concerted effort this year because you're going to have more holes to fill.
Yep.
So that part of it will be interesting to see. So
very much so. I've been reading, he's going to take more than 3 or 4 players from the portal also.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. What positions?
Yep.
I have a feeling he's going to probably target some DBs, maybe a linebacker or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe another defensive end.
I'm thinking that too.
There's, I don't think he'll take a running back. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the scholarship.
It's like I say, it's going to be an interesting offseason, I think. To say it easily, to say the least, I guess. I'm trying to how I want to say that. Going to be interesting.
Yep, it will be. And what if there's a quarterback out there that's highly rated and says, I think I can go to Clemson and help them out, maybe.
That would. I'm not going. I know. Somebody said this past week that Dabo stated he wasn't going after a quarterback. I don't know that I would buy into that too much.
He's going to keep some
Now,
stuff under his.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yes. Yeah, and that's what Jeff's asking too. Quarterback in the portal. I'm not going to say no. From everything I've gathered, you know, eh, now I think somebody else pointed out not to expect him to go after a high powered, or when I say high powered, um, a quarterback that's going to require sellers type money.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now that next level down, because I do believe that there are going to be some good quarterbacks out there that can come a little bit cheaper, if that makes sense. And Dabo has shown that he's going to get the best bang for his buck for the
That's
most
right.
part.
And Jeff, I agree with you, man.
Yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
going to tell you, I always thought that Vizina was going to be the quarterback of the future. It seemed like they trusted him a whole lot this year, other than when they had to have him in the SMU game. He didn't get a lot of PT after that.
Well, I guess that's my question too. I know a bunch of people in the media aren't buying into him being able to do it, but at the same time, you know, and he's right. It gives you a year to bridge the new guys, the new
Yep.
quarterbacks. I agree with that. But at the same time, can Vazina not do that? And I'm asking this because, in all honesty, what have we seen from him?
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a rocky start to the SMU game, but as the game continued, got pretty good. I mean, he had some pretty
Yep.
good throws.
Yep.
But I mean, did he have enough time to really? I mean, took him a minute to get into a rhythm, and he did. But we just say, could he do it the next time? We don't know because they didn't really give him much of a shot after that.
That's right.
They
And
would
that,
rather use an injured Klubnik.
well, and here, I guess this is my thing. I think, and I might be wrong here, but it feels like a little bit of the oh shoot, DJU effect, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And when I say that, we saw DJU play great against Notre Dame, lost, played great against them. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, he is the future," and he comes in the next year after Trevor Lawrence leaves, and I mean, it's like he didn't know anything about how to play football or anything else. Okay.
Yeah.
And it sometimes this year it's felt like that Chris Vizina is getting treated like that because, just like you said, he had a rather good game against SMU and lost. What does that remind you of? Notre Dame, where he had a great game, lost, and then everybody's expecting him to be, start going, all right. And it almost feels like Chris Vizina is, and I'm saying this just because I haven't heard anybody talk about how he's done in practice or anything like that. All I've heard is, oh, he's not, simply because of, and I hate to say it this way, but in the other, games that I think he had one other game before that game where he looked kind of rough. And then, what game was it? The Furman game. He looked, but at the same time, he
But
played.
was he playing with ones?
Yeah,
Was
yeah. Well, and also, everybody's wanting to crown Denson the future. Okay, and I get that, but at the same time, he's going up against the scrubs from Furman. Okay, and I'm not trying to talk down on Furman, but
okay.
I'm talking about by the time he played, we were in the fourth quarter, and you notice like I do, they weren't playing. They were probably playing their third string by that time.
That's right. Well,
okay.
I tell you who he kind of reminds me of.
Who's that?
Kind of reminds me of.
Okay.
We got this good quarterback one time that came in that we thought was going to be the quarterback of the future, and he ended up being converted to a wide receiver and was really good at wide receiver. Chancey Stuckey.
Yes.
I remember against Carolina in the 63-17 game, they put him in, and he did almost the exact same thing Denson did, ran the ball all over him.
Well, and see, that was one of the things I was going to say too. All right, with Denson, a lot of people don't realize that, Denson's rushes actually came because he missed receivers and pulled the ball and ran. I mean,
Yep.
it was, you know, and honestly, I don't believe. This is my opinion. I don't believe Chris Mazzina was going to do that in that game in that moment.
No.
And I'm not saying. I am not saying that Chris Mazzina is the man. I don't know. I really don't. You know, I think we will find out more. Kind of like Jeff's pointed out. That'll tell us in the portal. What he really believes.
Right. Well, and this is another thing. And I know that we don't have anybody on the roster that's like Trevor Lawrence was. But you remember when Trevor Lawrence was a freshman and him and Kelly Bryant, at least they throw Trevor in there,
Yeah.
For a few possessions. And that's one thing that's just kind of bothering me this year is we've kind of stuck with the same guys. We haven't, and I get there's a trust issue there. I get that. I do. I totally get that. But that in-game experience is so invaluable. I mean, how many times did Vizina get in there other than just mop-up duty?
Yeah.
Other than the SMU game when he had to. But that kind of shows me they don't have a lot of trust on who they got. Same with the running backs. Me and you discussed that prior. We had Easy and Gideon Davidson. And first part of the season, they didn't hardly play anybody but Adam Randall. Now, towards the end of the season, they started playing Davidson more, and he's going to be good.
I was glad to see that, too.
He's going to be good.
I'm
high on him.
You and me both.
He's going to be good. There'll be a good change of pace back.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, we got another person joining us tonight. Robert Timms said we need a high quality quarterback to bridge the gap. Dabo will have the money with Cade gone. Again, we're gonna see. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't buy into all this that Dabo's gonna have a bunch of money, because I also know that Dabo hasn't had the money that some people think he's had. But it'll be interesting to see what he's got there, or what he does there. Chris should play a lot in the bowl game, the young backs too. I'll be honest with you. I had a buddy of mine earlier say that he hoped that that he actually played a bunch of the backups in the bowl game so we could see what we're going to have. But the way things have gone over the past, in the past, if a player doesn't opt out and stays with, then they get the chance to play. You get practices, extra practices, and I love that part of it. But some of these players have stuck with you, and they want to go out winners. So,
yep. Oh yeah, definitely. But and Robert says Chris should play a lot in the bowl game. Man, hey, I'm with you. I am big on it. In-game experience. I can't stand to put next year if we don't get a quarterback to bridge the gap, we don't even really know what we have. You know? We really don't. I mean, we want Vizina to be the man. He's got all the tangibles to do it, but he doesn't have the in-game experience to. Same with running backs, Randall, look here. I would have ridden that horse too, but man, it's good to hand it off to another dude out there to kind of a little change of pace. We just seems like in recent years we've gotten away from playing more guys to get that experience, which also in the past, we've had more opportunities because we've pretty much by the second quarter games at hand,
Yeah. All right. Jeff's asked, wonder what opt-outs will look like if we heard any rumblings. I can tell you that Dabo said after the South Carolina game that he did not expect a bunch of opt outs, which really kind of shocked me a little bit because I think I said a while back that if we weren't going to if we weren't going to the playoffs, I could see some of these guys opting out. That was the way the season was going at the time. But again, in the past we have not had a bunch of opt outs. This would have been the first year that we could see some. But at this point, I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Craig?
I don't expect there to be, honestly. T.J. Parker, I think, was one that said after the Carolina game, they asked, I think, if I'm not mistaken, asked him, what his intentions were with the NFL. He's kind of, I'm not sure, just looking forward to the bowl game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this, this does go back to the culture at Clemson. I think the guys are loyal that are there. I don't think might have a couple. I don't anticipate really seeing any of the big guys. I think Antonio Williams will still be playing. I think Woods will be there. I think Parker will be there. I think Terrell will be there. I think it will be all right.
Well, I mean, and on top of that, you think about this thing. You've got some of these guys who actually saw some of their draft stock drop a little bit. So this is going to be their last shot before the combine
to prove themselves.
To show, yeah. I mean, so I could see them wanting to play in that game.
And also this too. I mean, think of it like this. You got an opportunity. Penn State didn't have a great record this year, but it's still Penn State.
Yep.
I mean, that's just like any team would love to play a Clemson football team, no matter if they're 7-5 or 10-2.
Well, and it goes also to what we talked about earlier about. Think about it. This is one of the most well-known stadiums in the world, really.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I know it's a baseball stadium, but it's a unique situation. So I could see some of these guys wanting to play in it. All right,
Jeff.
Yeah, he wants to know who sees the most action, CV or CD. May tell us who sees the most action, CV or CD. May tell us where they are leaning, especially if our OC is coming back. I still feel strongly that our OC will not be back. That's just everything I'm hearing. So, but at the same time, I still believe that. I believe it could be I think it. How do I put this? I believe both of them get some playing time. I don't know who I would say gets more.
Depending on how healthy Denson is
That's true.
after the injury.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, man, I hope that both of them do get playing time if Denson's available. I'd love to see that happen, but I have a feeling last game we'll see Klubnik. He'll probably play till at least midway through the fourth quarter if we were ahead by enough,
And there again, it would depend on the score of the game too, in my opinion. Because honestly and truthfully, like I said a little while ago, these guys aren't coming back here. They're not sticking around to go to a bowl game and lose.
Right.
I just don't. I don't believe any player out there is wanting to play in a bowl game and come out a loser.
That's right.
Whether it's a lower tier bowl or the playoffs or anything else.
That's right.
So hey, we're gonna see.
We're gonna see.
Dude, I got 746. Robert, I know you and I have not always seen eye to eye, but at the same time, we're glad to have you in here, man. Same with you, Jeff. Jeff is by far leading in the clubhouse as far as top fans of the show. And I know Craig and I've talked many times already about asking you to join us and do the thing. And it would help out, Jeff, if you're interested, because it gets kind of hectic sometimes whenever, if one of us can't be here at exactly the right time, and it would help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that later. I also am still planning on getting Coach Ford. I may try to talk to him this week and see if we can get him sometime before the bowl game.
There you go.
and then if you want to talk to your man and see about as we
Ready to
yeah
go?
before yeah
Harold Jameson, he'll be ready. I
well
think.
Ed, before we get out of here, I do want to point out that um the Tigers got down by as much as 19 earlier this week against Alabama, the number 12 team in the country. Came back, took the lead in the latter part of the second half, and had a chance to win, and could not pull it off at the end. And
Hey,
so
but you know what? It was just a slow start on that
it,
game.
it
We're gonna
was
have a good basketball team. We know you're
yeah.
not going to see very many losses from those boys.
Well, this coming Tuesday, we'll get another chance to see what Coach Brownell and those have got because they're going to be taking on BYU, which is another
Yeah,
highly ranked team. So,
that's gonna be a good
um,
one. That's gonna be a good one. Um,
um, all right. Robert is asking if we got any word on coaching changes. I like I said a while ago, I'm still hearing that Riley is not coming back. I do not believe that the way I'm understanding it, Riley is being fired as much as it is Riley's going to have another opportunity, whether it's a head coaching position or another offensive coordinator position at another location.
yep.
I'm also,
I
um,
want to say this about him, about
yeah,
Riley. I think Riley. I mean, I've come to compare him to Wes Goodwin.
I
I
see
think
that.
Riley's going to be good. I
Yeah,
don't think it's time to shine as yet. I mean, you think about it. He was at SMU for a couple of years, and then he was at TCU, and yeah, they had that huge run. He didn't
yeah,
really have a lot of offensive coordinator experience. You know,
no,
he's had three seasons with us now.
yeah, and
I mean,
and
we're still
everybody.
still Rob Spence Jr. on some plays. You know.
Well, and I still believe that Sonny Dykes was the mastermind behind that offensive, you know, at
Yep. Oh
TCU
yeah.
anyway. I mean, um,
Yep.
you know, hey, I'm like you. I mean, look at what the defense is doing at Oklahoma, and I mean, I know that is Venable's baby. I get that, but at the same time, guess who he added? He
Good.
added Wes Goodwin. I
Yep.
mean,
That's
those
right.
two seem to have a good thing going together,
That's
and
right. And
so
look here, I'm not down on Riley. I mean, he's going to be a
yeah, I'm
good
not either.
coach. I mean, man, we just seemed too conservative most of the time, and didn't seem like we didn't open up the playbook like we should have. I mean, you look
Yeah,
at it, TJ, that Joker ran loose this past several games.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Now, what was the difference in the last few games and the first few games?
very true.
You know,
Well, I mean,
we
here's
didn't
my
throw the
thing.
ball like that the first few several games, 4 or 5 games. We didn't spread the field. We didn't
Mm-mm.
do I mean, look here. We lost to SMU by what? A point?
Yep.
By one. We lost to Georgia Tech by a field goal
Mhm.
right at the end of the game. We should not have lost to daggum Syracuse. That was a fluke.
Yep.
But we always say we get one of those every year.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Oh yeah.
but those first games, those were key games, and we just seemed like so vanilla.
Hmm.
But
Well, like we said earlier, predictable. And and here's my thing too with our offense. If we're running the ball and you're running it down a team's throat, I
why
get that you
stop?
can't. I get that you can't go away from that. Or you can't. Let me say that. I get that you've got to be. You got to show both. I get that. You got to be balanced. But on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, I mean, you don't give it to your running back that has been gaining those yards the whole game.
And who is 6'2", 235. And
Yeah.
look here, Adam Randall is my MVP of the year for Clemson football.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
By far. Not
Well,
only
I'll tell you, just like we've talked about before, we've had a bunch of fans that have been down on CJ and stuff like that. All right, think about this. CJ took a wide receiver and in 1 year got him to the number 4 back in the ACC.
yep, that's right.
Okay, I
And
mean,
probably could have been a little bit stronger than that because there were several games he didn't run the ball
we
10
went
or
away
11
from it.
times.
We went away from him.
You know?
All right, you know, and look, we're not gonna always agree on everything. Okay,
No,
as we've talked about before. But at the same time, you got to look at these coaches' work. Okay, um, you know, eh, and that would be a whole nother. We'd be on this show for another hour, and we've already run over. Okay, maybe we'll hit on that next week. How about that? We can talk about
Which
some of the
we might have
differences.
some more information by next week too.
I'm hoping that, yeah. But until then, remember the Tigers on the court Tuesday night against
Yep,
BYU. I'm not sure what
BYU.
time. But hey, until then,
Yep,
as always, y'all, go Tigers.
go Tigers.